Yo, 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 welcome to Homemade Takes brought to you by Breadbasket TV. I'd like to continue sending my prayers out to Damar Hamlin as well as Peyton Hillis and extend prayers and love to Liam Hendricks as well as the Hendricks family. Sunday evening, White Sox closer Liam Hendricks announced he is beginning treatment for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Um, Anyone that knows me knows how cancer has affected my family. And it's a terrible disease, and I'm just extending love and prayers to Liam Hendricks as well as the Hendricks family. But let's jump into this episode. Errol Spence Jr. and Keith Thurman are finalizing a deal for a 154-pound boxing match that is expected to take place in April. I want to see Errol Spence, Bud Crawford. Keith Thurman's nice, but he hasn't been the same since he fought my guy Danny Swift Garcia. I mean, I want to see Spence Crawford, and I hope we see that. It's starting to feel like it's going to be a Mayweather Pacquiao thing that you're going to see it, but it's not going to be till both guys are past their prime, which sucks, but that's boxing. Um, Bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling reveals torn bicep and doubts he'll be able to fight by March. A torn bicep is usually a 3 to 4 month injury to rehab from, and then another 2 to 3 months in camp will leave us in anywhere between June to August for Aljo's next fight. His last fight was against TJ Dillashaw, October 22nd. I'm not a really big fan of Aljo. I thought Jan won the first fight. Aljo did win the second fight though. And he dominated Dillashaw. I mean, the dude's fucking shoulder was separated from his body. But will the bantamweight belt be vacated? I'm not sure. It's a long time. What is that? Not 8 months. Maybe 8 months. If he fights in August, that'd be like 7, 8 months between fights. I feel like that's not long enough to vacate the belt. But the rest of the bantamweight division, Sean O'Malley is pushing for a Henry Cejudo fight, which could be like a number one contender fight. Like whoever wins gets a shot at Aljo. The guy being left out is Cheeto. Cheeto beat O'Malley. Cheeto's my favorite fighter in the bantamweight division. I'd like to see him get another shot at O'Malley or a shot at Aljo. Um, but that's the UFC news. AJ Pollock signs with the Seattle Mariners, 1 year, $7 million. Um, where does that leave them with Brian Reynolds? Are they out on him? Don't know. But on Hot Stove yesterday, Jack Curry and John Flaherty hint toward a second chance for Aaron Hicks, giving him a shot at a potential bounce back. So it seems the Yankees are staying in-house at left field. Brian Reynolds is looking slim to none, but as of right now, maybe things change toward the deadline. But the Yankees have Oswaldo Cabrera, Aaron Hicks, Estevan Florial, Rafael Ortega, Willie Calhoun, and Billy McKinney. Last Thursday, Ian Happ of the Chicago Cubs called into the Talkin' Yanks podcast to talk about his former teammate Rafael Ortega and was quoting saying, "He's a lefty that likes pulling the ball in the air. He slams righties and can't touch lefties. He's got good splits. Um, Left field, center field backup option. He signed to a minor league deal with an invite to spring training. I think he's the best option out of him, Willie Calhoun, Billy McKinney. Um, I think I'd like to see him get a shot. 2021 was a better year than last year for him, but he's solid. I mean, he slams right-handed pitching. can't hit lefties, which is like good because it's the opposite of pretty much everyone else. Aaron Hicks is better against lefties than he is righties. So maybe you see something where like if someone gets hurt and Oswaldo Cabrera has to fill in the infield, you could see a Ortega against righties, Hicks against lefties type thing in left field. Um, Brian Reynolds, it's looking like the Cardinals are the favorite to get him right now if there is a move before spring training starts. But that's the Yankees news. Brandon Belt to the Blue Jays, 1 year, $9 million. He should be probably their everyday DH. He can fill in at first if something happens to Vladdy or to Chapman over at third. Padres are among teams interested in Nelson Cruz. Is he gonna play till he's 50? How old is Nelson Cruz? Nelson Cruz is fucking probably 45. 42. So, yeah, I mean, he's not gonna lose that swing. Trevor Story underwent UCL surgery with an internal brace on his right elbow. UCL surgery is a modified Tommy John surgery with a quicker return date. Generally speaking, players miss 4 to 6 months following the surgery. So he won't be out a full year. Should be back. I believe he had the surgery today. Should be back between May and July. So we'll see what happens. His elbow was shot. He needed that surgery. Elvis Andrus and Josh Harrison are among the middle field options opposite Christian Arroyo while Trevor Story's out. So we'll see. Those are two names to watch linked with the Red Sox as well as Miguel Rojas talked about in the last episode. Him and Pablo Lopez, possibly a trade package the Red Sox could inquire about. Speaking of the Marlins, Johnny Cueto signs with the Marlins, 8.5 million, 1 year plus an option with a buyout. I love Johnny Cueto. Um, Trevor Bauer, DFA'd by the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Giants and Padres have already said they're not interested in Trevor Bauer. I think there's four legitimate teams. Other teams could sneak into the picture, but in my mind, it's between the Mets, Yankees, Rangers, and Phillies for the favorites for Trevor Bauer as of right now. Um, there's a possibility he doesn't pitch in the MLB this year, just to let things simmer down a little bit, but he is a free agent as of right now. Once he clears waivers, I think the Dodgers can trade him until he clears waivers, but um either way, I think they owe him 22 mil a year and then he can sign anywhere for the minimum. That's Trevor Bauer. The Tigers and Phillies completed a trade. The Tigers get Nick Maton, Matt Vierling, and Donnie Sands. Phillies get two-time All-Star reliever Gregory Soto and Cody Clemens. Bolstering that bullpen up, I think they could use one more arm if they get Trevor Bauer. That's going to be scary. But Carlos Correa, the real news. Carlos Correa agrees to a 6 year, $200 million deal. It's really a 10-year deal, but there are conditional salaries for years 7 to 10 with a full no trade clause. 33 mil a year for the first 6 years. Um, a conditional salary is basically he has to meet the requirements, whether it's at bats or games played or whatever the criteria is for the Twins' requirements for him. You see me rocking the Twins hat, but um, this has been in the works for a couple days now. Once the Mets announced they were kind of backing away a little bit, The Twins started reestablishing themselves. So Carlos Correa back to Minnesota. The potential free agent availability of superstar Manny Machado was something that the Mets internally spoke about at the end of the Carlos Correa negotiations. Manny Machado and Shohei Ohtani are coming up on free agent years. Manny Machado's got an opt-out, and Shohei will be on the market. Um, Teams are going to be fucking backing up the Brinks truck for them too. I want to see how much those guys get paid. Manny Machado's my favorite non-Yankee in the entire MLB. I've loved Manny Machado. I've always loved Manny Machado since he was in Baltimore. And I would love to see him as a Yankee, but if he's a Met, I mean, I'm not far from Queens either. You guys see me with the Mets hat. I'll shoot down to Citi Field and see my guy play. I might even fuck around and cop his jersey. But that's baseball. The WWE has announced that the board has unanimously decided to proclaim Vince McMahon as the new executive chairman of the board. After receiving the news of her father coming out of retirement, Stephanie McMahon has announced her resignation, which leaves Nick Khan, who's a businessman, as the sole CEO of the WWE. So, who will be running the creative side of WWE? Will it be Vince again? Where does this leave Triple H? What does this mean for people that were released by Vince? Bray Wyatt, Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, among others. I did not want to see Vince back. I wish he would have stayed retired. I thought the WWE was moving in the right direction prior to this. Um, we'll see what happens. Um, Definitely interesting at the very least. But Monday Night Raw recap. Uncle Howdy shows up on Raw to visit Alexa Bliss. Um, I can't wait to see where that segment goes, or the storyline. I can't wait to see Alexa Bliss and how she ties into this Uncle Howdy Bray Wyatt thing. I can't wait to see Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight at Rumble in the Pitch Black match. I can't wait to see is Uncle Howdy I think he's Bo Dallas, but I don't know. I hope he's Bo Dallas, but we'll see. Bobby Lashley returns to Monday Night Raw and spears Austin Theory. There was a segment with him and MVP teasing a Hurt Business reunion. The Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander were in that tag team tournament thing at the end of Raw as well. And in that tag team tournament, the Judgment Day secure Raw tag titles match. I wish the Street Profits would have won. But my reasoning for that is because I loved Judgment Day until they turned their back on Edge. I love Edge. Edge is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I like Finn Balor too, but the reason I don't like Judgment Day is because of Dominic Mysterio. I cannot stand Dominic Mysterio. I can't. I can't. And it's just like leaving a sour taste in my mouth that I think they're gonna win the Raw Tag titles because it is a Raw Tag titles match. It's not a unified tag titles match. It's not for both belts. It's only for one. And they're trying to split the titles. I think Judgment Day beats the Usos and gets the titles. I think so the first I believe three matches were Damian Priest and Finn Balor, but um Otis landed on Finn Balor at the end of that match, and Finn Balor was injured. So Dominic replaced Finn Balor in the final match against the Street Profits, which Judgment Day won. But now, who is going to be in the match? Is it going to be Finn and Damian? Is it going to be Damian and Dominic? I really hope it is Damian and Finn but I think Judgment Day wins. I think they split the titles. Rhea and whoever the other member of Judgment Day will likely help in that way. I mean, Solo's going to be there too, but there's no one to kind of counter Rhea Ripley. We'll see what happens with that. It could lead into a bigger feud. It could lead into a Bloodline versus Judgment Day feud, but that is the Monday Night Raw recap. College football championship was a shit show. 65-7. The college football playoff committee has some big questions to answer. Everyone is up in arms because TCU obviously did not belong in that game. But if TCU didn't belong in the college football playoffs, how did Michigan belong? If it were me, the 4 teams that would have got in would have been Georgia, Ohio State. Well, Michigan beat Ohio State. So it's tough. I think Ohio State's better than Michigan. Had a better team than Michigan, but Michigan did beat Ohio State. So, if you were trying to rank the 4 best teams in college football, if it were me, it's tough to put Ohio State in and not Michigan. But I would have picked Georgia, Ohio State, USC, and Alabama. You saw what Alabama did in their bowl game. I mean, TCU, I get it. They wanted to have a non-power conference team get in after going undefeated, but they weren't ready for that game. I don't think Michigan would have been ready for that game. And that's the only claim. I'm looking at hindsight's 2020. I'm looking back on the college football playoffs and saying I'd put Ohio State in, but Michigan won the Big Ten. So realistically, it would have been Georgia, Michigan, USC, Alabama. And the reason I'm saying USC is because I don't understand how you can win the pack and not get in. There's 2 Big Ten teams in right now. I think there should have been 2 SEC teams in. I think it should have been Georgia and Alabama. But the other 2 teams, then you got to put the winner of the Big Ten and the winner of the SEC in the college football playoffs. There's no question about that. Georgia and Michigan, right? I think it should have been Ohio State, but Michigan beat Ohio State head to head. So, Georgia, Michigan. Then you go either Alabama, Ohio State, or Alabama, USC. I think moving to 12 teams will help the college football playoff a lot more, but Georgia's dominant. The next question that everyone's got to be asking is Stetson Bennett a pro? He's like 30, but he's been dominant. He could be one of those guys that's like a late round pick, like a Mac. Well, Mac Jones was a first round pick, but similar to that, I think he's more of a AJ McCarron. He'll probably be a lifelong backup as a pro, but I wouldn't bet against the kid. If he gets a shot, then I'll be rooting for him. In the NFL, Lovie Smith and Cliff Kingsbury both fired. Sean McVay's immediate future as the Los Angeles Rams head coach is in limbo as well. The teams looking for a head coach as of right now: Broncos, Cardinals, Texans, Rams. Candidates are Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, Frank Reich, the Eagles offensive coordinator Shane Steichen, the Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, Cardinals defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans, Cowboys defensive coordinator and former Atlanta Falcons head coach Dan Quinn, and Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. There's going to be some things that have to sort themselves out. I think you're going to see more head coaching positions open and more candidates are going to come out. Sean Payton is the big one. Harbaugh's big too, but I don't like either of the Harbaughs, honestly. Sean Payton's the big one. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers lose to the Detroit Lions, get eliminated from the playoffs at Lambeau. Seeing him walk off the field like that was sad. It was really sad. I hope his Packers career doesn't end like that. I hope his NFL career doesn't end like that. But there are other teams that need a quarterback. Will he retire? Will he go somewhere else? Will he be back in Green Bay? Allen Lazard won't be. He made that clear in the post-game interview. But the Las Vegas Raiders are the betting favorite for Aaron Rodgers, not including the Packers. If he goes somewhere else, the Raiders are the favorite as of right now, betting-wise. Wouldn't that be something? Go play with Devontae Adams again? I don't know. The quarterbacks right now that will be on the market in the offseason, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Jimmy G. Will Lamar Jackson join that group? Will he play another game for the Baltimore Ravens? Doesn't look likely for him to play this week against Cincinnati in the Super Wild Card Weekend matchup. The Ravens rested Tyler Huntley last week for Anthony Brown to make sure he's healthy for this weekend to play the Bengals. Why are you resting Tyler Huntley if you think Lamar Jackson's going to be back? I'm not sure. Lamar Jackson might be right up there with Aaron Rodgers. Teams looking for a quarterback include the 49ers, Saints, Jets, Titans, Falcons, Packers, Commanders, Colts. I'm assuming that Bryce Young goes to the Houston Texans. That's why the Texans aren't included. And the Colts, I believe, either CJ Stroud or the kid from Kentucky. Next week, we're going to do a Wild Card Weekend recap as well as a NFL mock draft with Sam Ohaj. I know this is the second time I said it, but next week we're aiming to do that with Sam Ohaj. He's going to travel abroad, so best of luck to you, bro. Safe travels if you're listening. Love you, Ohaj. The Ravens, in other news, agree in principle with All-Pro linebacker Roquan Smith, who's now the highest-paid linebacker in NFL history, with a 5-year, $100 million deal. $45 million fully guaranteed and $60 million in total guarantees. Roquan Smith, that defense going to be legit. Will Lamar Jackson be there, though? I mean, I don't know. The team's built for Lamar. It's built for a running quarterback. But if you lose Lamar, Roquan Smith is a legit top-tier linebacker, though. He'll contribute and he will pull more than his own weight with Lamar or without. So good move by the Ravens. The Arizona Cardinals did not only fire Cliff Kingsbury, but say they plan to try to trade former All-Pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins this offseason. He's getting up there in age, but he's still that guy. He's still D-Hop. A lot of teams gonna be trying to come and get him. What will it take? Where will he go? I can't wait. Bart Scott on Bart and Hahn said the New York Giants' top target this offseason should not be DeAndre Hopkins, but should be Bills wide receiver Gabe Davis. teaming back up with Brian Daboll in New York. Um, I think the quality of player is different tiers. D Hop is the top. Gabe Davis is good. He's got drop problems. He's very inconsistent. But I get where Bart Scott's coming from. I mean, if there's a shot to get DeAndre Hopkins, I think you have to do that though. And as far as the Giants go, the comparison everyone's trying to draw since he became the head coach of the New York Giants, Daniel Jones to Josh Allen. He's got the body. He's got the athleticism. Not sure he has the arm or the intangibles or the attitude, but on the field, the comparisons to Josh Allen. The question is, how good can Daniel Jones be if he gets his Stephon Diggs? He leaned on Saquon Barkley big time this year. That's another question mark. Will Saquon be back? Um, I think Daniel Jones can be really good, but he needs that Stephon Diggs. We saw Josh Allen before he got Stephon Diggs. I mean, Daniel Jones needs his Stephon Diggs, and then we can reassess and go from there. I think he will re-sign an extension with the Giants before he gets his number one receiver. And I think he will sign the Giants will look back and say they got him at a discount. I think he will prove the Giants and Giants fans right on his next contract. The Super Wild Card Weekend matchups for this weekend. Saturday at 4:35, the 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers -10, getting 10 points or giving away 10 points to Seattle. The Seahawks limped in. They barely beat the Rams. They won in overtime on a field goal. And the Niners are looking like they might be the team in the NFC. I like the Niners. I'm not sure if I like them by 10. It's an NFC West matchup. Rivals, these teams know each other well. I'm not sure if I would take the full 10 points. Saturday night, Chargers -1 at Jacksonville. Jacksonville is the home underdog. And I like Jacksonville. I might take them money line. The Chargers this weekend confused, like it was like a fucking, I don't know what Brandon Staley was thinking. They weren't playing for anything against the Denver Broncos. Justin Herbert played 3 quarters, maybe more, and Mike Williams and Joey Bosa got hurt. Mike Williams hurt his lower back. I'm not sure exactly what the Joey Bosa injury is, but you sit your guys. If you can't move up or down, they were locked in at the 5. The Ravens lost in the 1 o'clock window, and the Chargers weren't playing for anything. And they started their guys. They played their guys for 3+ quarters, and they lost. They still lost. The reason you play your guys is to build momentum. So if you throw them out there and the momentum plummets and you get guys hurt, if the Jaguars beat the Chargers, Brandon Staley's job has to be on the hot seat. It's got to be. It's got to be. No questions asked. If Mike Williams and Joey Bosa can't play and they lose this game on Saturday, the Chargers should be up there with the teams looking for a head coach. Moving on. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Bills -11 against the Miami Dolphins. The question is, who will be playing quarterback for Miami? Will it be Tua? Will it be Teddy? Will it be Skylar Thompson? I think it'll be Skylar Thompson, and I like the Bills. I'm not going to bet on this game, but I like the Bills minus 11. Sunday, 4:40. This game I will bet on. Giants +3 at Minnesota. I like the Giants money line. I think the Giants win. The Vikings are not very good. The defense is terrible. Justin Jefferson will have to carry them. We'll see what happens with that. Bengals Sunday night, 8:15. Bengals minus 6.5 against the Ravens. The Tyler Huntley Ravens, I would assume. I like the Bengals minus 6.5. And then Monday night, another game I will be betting on. Cowboys -3 against the Bucks in Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay money line. Cowboys just lost to Washington. I like Tampa Bay. And according to my picks, the second round matchups would be Jacksonville at Kansas City, Bengals at Bills, Giants at Eagles, Bucks at Niners. Future bets as of right now. Super Bowl picks, Chiefs +350, Bills +400. I put $100 on that to win 500. 49ers +500, Eagles +550, Bengals +850, Chargers I like +2,000, Bucks +2,800, Giants +5,500. I picked the Bills. Offensive Rookie of the Year odds: Kenneth Walker, Garrett Wilson, Brock Purdy, Kenny Pickett, Chris Olave. I like Brock Purdy. I don't think if you're a rookie and you go 7-0 in the regular season, I think that should be a lock. But Kenneth Walker's the favorite right now. Defensive Rookie of the Year is between Sauce Gardner or Aiden Hutchinson. I think Sauce Gardner will get that. Offensive Player of the Year between Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey. I think Justin Jefferson gets that. Defensive Player of the Year is between Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons. I think Nick Bosa will win it, but my pick would be Micah Parsons. And then the MVP between Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Patrick Mahomes should lock that up. And that's it. I'll be hopping back in next week, hopefully with Sam Ohaj. I'd like to have another episode coming up, probably with John Matthews discussing the films coming in 2023 and new anime discussing release dates and things coming up with Joe Finch. Thank you guys. Talk to you soon.